morning, children. Yesterday, hope all are safe at home. Yesterday, you have the revision class, in that you have learned about the reading comprehension from Unit 1. Today, you are going to have the revision class on Unit 1 B reading. Before going to the comprehension passages, just I want to give the tips for how to uh, handle reading comprehension questions. First one, you have to try to anticipate what the passage is about. Next, pick your questions to answers. So when you read the comprehension passage, you have to see the answers directly from the passage itself. Read purposefully passage questions and answers. Then you have to read purposefully the questions and then answer it. If you didn't understand, go back to the passage, read once or twice to answer the questions. Okay, now coming to the reading comprehension topics from B reading. Every success story is also a story of great failures. Okay, now the first passage, children. If you study history, you'll find that all stories of success are also stories of great failures. But don't see the failures. But people don't see the failures. They see only they only see one side of the picture, and they say that person got lucky. He must have been at the right place at the right time. So when we have seen the persons in the history who had succeeded in their life, only they will read only the success stories of them, but how many times they failed we don't see, because we don't mind for their failures, just we are mindful for their success, that's all. So they are the people, usually they say that we only see only one side of the picture, and they'll just say he's very lucky, that's why he got success. But how many times he has failed before getting the success? Nobody wants that one. Just another way, they'll say that he's in the right place at the right time, that's why he got the success. Okay, now coming to the questions. The first question is, what does one side of the picture mean here? Here in the passage, they have given one side of the picture. People don't see the failures, they only see one side of the picture. So what does it mean? So one side of the picture means only the success of a person. So the people want the success of the person, that's all. They don't need how many times he failed before getting the success. Next, according to the passage, what happens when a person is at the right place and at the right time? So that person is lucky and he gets success easily. So when the person is at the right place at the right time, he is lucky, and that's why he gets the success easily. Do you think a person should be at a right place and right time to be lucky? So no, I don't think so. What does the history tells us? What does the history tells us? That every successful person has had failures. So until they have seen the failures, nobody succeeded in the history. So that history tells us. So now coming to the second passage. In this lesson you have learned about the Abraham Lincoln. At the age of 56 he had become the president of America. Before reaching the at the age of 52 he became the president of United States of America. But before that, how many times he failed, but he did not think that how many times he defeated. He thought that it is a detour, not a dead end. Detour means that is the longer way, uh, in order to avoid the danger or risk. What we are taking a longer route. So Lincoln, he tried and tried and tried until he succeeded in his life. Now coming to the passage, but to Lincoln defeat was a detour and not a dead end. So to the Lincoln defeat was a detour and it is not a dead end. Dead end means we can't go any more further. That is called dead end. So what does this line mean? It means that defeat or failures does not mean it is the end, but we need to try another possible course of action to be success. So when we want to be a successful person, defeat and failures are not the end. So we will try another way. In one way we didn't get the success, so we will try in another way to be successful. Okay, now what does detour actually means? What is the meaning of detour? Detour is the longer route that we take in order to avoid danger or risk. Detour is the longer route that we take in order to avoid danger or risk. Next, how did Lincoln succeed in the end? So how did he succeed in the end? Lincoln succeeded by becoming the President of United States of America. Lincoln became the 16th President of America. So at the age of 52 he got his success. Till then he tried and tried. He failed, but he did not leave. Just he bounced back to get the success. Okay, now coming to the next passage. This passage is about the Lady Forest. Lady Forest is the inventor of triodes tube. When he invented, he told that he can transmit human voice across the Atlantic. So now how we are able to communicate with far away persons. In those days, Lady Forest told that I can transmit the human voice to across the Atlantic. So he has invented the telephone hub. But what happened? He was charged by the Attorney General that he is a fraud, he is a cheat, nobody cheating that, telling that to the public. He can transmit the human voice. Transmit means what? What is the meaning of transmit? To transfer. For that he was insulted in the public by the Attorney General. Okay, now I'll read the passage. Listen carefully. In 1913, Lady Forest, the inventor of triodes tube, was charged by the district attorney for using fraudulent means to mislead the public into buying the stocks of his company by claiming that he could transmit human voice across the Atlantic. He was publicly humiliated. Publicly humiliated means in the public he was insulted. Can you imagine where we would be without his invention? Okay, so that is the meaning of this passage. And now coming to the question of this passage. What did Lady Forest invent? So he is asking what is the invention of Lady Forest. Lady Forest invented triodes tube. So what is his invention? Triodes tube. What is a triodes tube? So a triodes tube is an electronic amplification tube which has 3 active electrodes. So it is an electronic amplification tube having 3 electrodes. Is a triodes tube which is useful for the telephones. Now coming to the second one. What do triodes tube do? So what is the function of triodes tube? So triodes tube amplify sound. So they help to carry the sound long distances in telephone calls. That is the function of the triodes tube. Next, how do you understand district attorney? Means what is the meaning of district attorney? What does a district attorney does? Okay, so district attorney is a lawyer. Who is district attorney? He is a lawyer, and he will bring someone to the court for something illegal. So whatever the illegal things and the people does, this district attorney puts them in front of the court. So that is the function of the district attorney. District attorney is a lawyer who could bring someone to court for something illegal. Next, what was the claim made by Lady Forest? Claim means what? That was the mistake that made by the he told something he will do. That is called the claim. Okay, the claim made by Lady Forest was that he could transmit human voice across the Atlantic. So he told the people that I can transmit the human voice across the Atlantic. So like that he sold his stock. But the district attorney told that he is a fraud and he is a cheat. He told, but he can't do it. That's why he insulted him in front of the people. Okay, now coming to the next passage. Okay, you all know about the Wright brothers who invented the aeroplane. So for Wright brothers also they have questioned about their wisdom. So in this passage, the New York Times editorial on December 10th, 1903 questioned the wisdom of Wright brothers who were trying to invent a machine heavier than air that would fly. So the New York Times editorial, they questioned the wisdom means knowledge of the Wright brothers. What are the Wright brothers doing? They are inventing a machine which is heavier than air and which helps to fly. Okay, so 1 week after at Kitty Hawk, the Wright brothers took their famous flight. So before 1 week they were questioned, and after 1 week they got their success by their famous flight. Okay, so now we are able to fly in the air. So that was the invention by the Wright brothers. If Wright brothers didn't invent the machine, now we can't we are not able to fly in the air. Okay, now coming to the questions. Now the first question is, who questioned the wisdom of the Wright brothers? So who questioned the wisdom of Wright brothers? A New York Times editorial. So the newspaper questioned the wisdom of Wright brothers. Next, what were the Wright brothers trying to invent? So what is the invention of Wright brothers? So they were trying to invent a machine heavier than air that could fly. So what are they trying to invent? They are trying to invent a machine that is heavier than air and that could fly. Next, were the Wright brothers successful in their efforts? Yes, they were successful in their efforts. So 1 week after, they have taken their first flight. So why could the people not believe in the Wright brothers' efforts? So before 1 week, the people didn't believe the efforts of the Wright brothers, because what they thought, they did not believe that anything heavier than air could fly. They didn't believe it. So when an object is heavier than air, it could fly. That's why the people did not believe the efforts of the Wright brothers. Okay, people could not believe that anything heavier than air could fly. Okay, now hope you have understood the passages. Now I am going to the next passage. In this passage, in the lesson, we have learnt about the Colonial Sanders. Colonial Sanders, at the age of 65, what he has done, he remembered his mother's recipe and he prepared the mother's recipe and he want to sell the mother's recipe. So he had stepped so many doors. He knocked so many doors before getting the first order. So not one or two or three or four attempts or 100 attempts. He had done 1,000 attempts to get his first order. Until he get it first order, he does not lose his heart, lose his confidence. He tried and tried to get his first order. Okay, so this passage is about Colonial Sanders. Okay, here in this passage they didn't mention the name of the person, but you have read in the lesson. That's why you have to remember. Here he means Colonial Sanders. Now I am reading the passage. Listen carefully. He remembered his mother's recipe and went out selling. How many doors did he have to knock on before he got his first order? So it is estimated that he had knocked on more than 1,000 doors before he got his first order. How many of us quit after 3 tries, 10 tries and 100 tries? And then we say we tried as hard as we could. So after 100 trials we leave that one. We have tried a lot but we could not get the success. But in the case of Colonial Sanders, he tried and tried until he succeeded. He had a strong determination in his mind to sell his mother's recipe. That determination made him to knock 1,000 doors before he received the first order. Okay, children. So once again I'll read the passage. Listen carefully. He remembered his mother's recipe and went out selling. How many doors did he have to knock on before he got his first order? It is estimated that he had knocked on more than 1,000 doors before he got his first order. How many of us quit after 3 tries, then 10 tries, 100 tries, and then we say we tried as hard as we could. Okay, so we should not leave until we success. Now coming to the questions on this passage. So the first question is, who is the man mentioned here in the passage? Here they have given only he. We don't know who is he in the passage. When you read the lesson thoroughly, then only you can identify that he is Colonial Sanders. Okay, children, this is an indirect question. So you have to be thorough with the lesson. Next, which quantity of man made him successful? He is asking the quality of the man that made him successful. So his determination and perseverance made him a successful person. Next one, why did he knock on many doors? So what is the reason? To get his first order, he knocked many doors. So what is the reason he is asking? He knocked on many doors to sell the recipe that he had learned from his mother. So from his mother he had learned the recipe. So to sell that recipe, he knocked so many doors. So he knocked on many doors to find a business partner to sell his mother's recipe. Next, how old was he when he started his business? So at the age of 65, he started his business. So how old is he? He was 65 years old when he started his business. Okay, children, hope you have understood. Now coming to the next passage. Okay, now children, you are interested to watch the cartoons, no? So which cartoon do you like most? I think Doraemon, Pokemon, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck. So these are the cartoons you are watching at home now. So here in our story, we have learnt about a young cartoon. Who is he? Walt Disney. So how many rejections he faced before becoming a famous person is there in this passage. Okay, this passage is about Walt Disney. So Walt Disney, he is the inventor of Mickey Mouse. He was the designer of Mickey Mouse. So now I am going to read the passage. Listen carefully. As a young cartoonist, Walt Disney faced many rejections from newspaper editors who said he had no talent. He had no talent. One day, a minister at a church hired him to draw some cartoons. So Disney was working out of a small mouse infested shed near the church. So after seeing a small mouse, he was inspired. That was the start of the Mickey Mouse. So this young cartoonist Walt Disney, he went near the newspaper editorials that I am a cartoonist and I'll give cartoons for the newspaper. But each and every newspaper editors, they rejected him and they told that no, you are not having any talent, you are not a cartoonist. But one day a minister in a church, he has given an opportunity for him. You draw cartoons in the church. So in the church when you draw the cartoons, I'll give money for it, he told. So when he was working for that, at the time he has seen a small mouse. When he was drawing the pictures of cartoons in the church, he has seen the small mouse. So that small mouse has inspired him, and he started drawing the mouse. So that is the start of the Mickey Mouse. So like that, the mm, Mickey Mouse was invented or drawn. Yes. Um, why did Disney go to newspaper editors? What is the reason why the Walt Disney had went near the newspaper editors? He went to them to ask for a job. So he is in a he's a cartoonist. He want a position of a cartoonist. That's why he went near the newspaper editors. So why did they reject him? So they rejected him because they thought he had no talent. So they thought that he is not having any talent to draw the cartoons. That's why they rejected Walt Disney. Next, what was the opportunity that brought out Walt Disney's talent? So Disney had given one opportunity by the prominent person in the city. So who has given him the opportunity? It was the church minister. He has asked him to draw some cartoons in the church. So it was the church minister asking him to draw some cartoons. Next, how was Disney inspired by a small mouse? So how was Disney inspired by a small mouse? He has seen a small mouse when he was drawing the cartoons in the church. Then he has seen a small mouse. So that made him to design the Mickey Mouse. So on seeing a small mouse, Disney designed the Mickey Mouse. Okay, so hope you had got the answers well. Now coming to the next passage. So our next passage is about a little boy, 4-year-old kid. He was sent a note by his teacher that he is too stupid to learn. So I'm reading the passage, listen carefully. One day, a partially deaf 4-year-old kid came home with a note in his pocket from his teacher. Your Tommy is too stupid to learn. Get him out of the school. So what the teacher has written, that he was too stupid to learn and asked him to take out from the school. So this letter was given to the mother of the 4-year-old boy. So what is the disability he is suffering from? He is suffering from partially deaf. Deaf means he is not able to hear. Dumb means not able to speak. So deaf and dumb people, they can't hear, they can't speak. So here the 4-year-old kid, he was not able to hear. So partially he can't hear the voice. So that's why the teacher has written the note and sent him through the boy. Okay, what the message she has written? Your Tommy is too stupid to learn, and asked him to get out of the school. So he was not suitable for the school learning. That's why he had only 3 months of schooling education. So all his education was done by the mother itself. He is none other than Thomas Alva Edison. He invented the bulb. So without his invention, can we be now? We can't imagine being in the darkness. Okay, so that is the invention of Thomas Alva Edison. But due to his disability, he was rejected to be in the school and asked by the teacher that he has to be sent out of the school. Okay, now coming to the questions. So the first question is, what is the antonym of partial? Here in the passage we have the word partial. They are asking the antonym of partial. Antonym means opposite word. Synonym means the words which have similar meanings. They are called as synonyms, and the words which have opposite meanings are called as antonyms. Here in our question they are asking the opposite of partial. So the antonym of partial is complete. So the antonym of partial is complete. Now coming to the next one. Why did the teacher think the boy should be sent out of the school? So the teacher has written a note and sent to the mother with the boy. Okay, why did she think like that? He should not be in the school because she thought that he was stupid. He was stupid to learn. That's why he was sent out of the school. Next, what was the message that the note contained? So in the note she has written a message. So what is the message he is asking? The message was, Tommy was too stupid to learn and he should be sent out of the school. So what is the message here? Tommy is too stupid to learn. So he should be sent out of the school. Okay. Next, what was the disability that the boy had? So the boy is suffering with a disability. So what is the disability? He was partially deaf. In the before itself I don't know, deaf means unable to hear is called as deaf. So he was unable to hear. So he was partially deaf. The disability was partial deafness. So here the little boy is suffering from partial deafness. So the disability mentioned in the passage is partially deaf. Okay, children. So he was partially deaf and the disability was partial deafness. Hope you have understood the passage. Now let's go to the next passage. So in this passage it is mentioned about the Henry Ford. So on the road you can see the Ford car, tractors. So he is the inventor of Ford cars. Henry Ford forgot to put the reverse gear in the first car he made. So what did the Henry Ford fault? He forgotten to put the reverse gear when he made his first car. So Henry Ford forgot to put the reverse gear in the first car he made. So he is the designer of the car and he is the founder of Ford Motors. So Ford Motors is the vehicle making company. So Henry Ford was the designer of the cars and he is the founder of Ford Motors. So when he had designed his first car, he forgotten to put the reverse gear in his first car. So maybe he thought that there is no necessary for the reverse gear. Like that he may thought. So that he has felt and he did not keep the reverse gear. Okay. Now coming to the questions. Who was Henry Ford? So I don't know, just now I told who was Henry Ford. Henry Ford was the founder of Ford Motors, a vehicle making company. So what is Ford Motors? Ford Motors is a vehicle making company. So Henry Ford is the founder of Ford Motors and Ford Motors is a vehicle making company. Okay. Next, can you think of some words that rhyme with gear in the above line? So now you think of some rhyming words. Here in the passage we have gear, reverse gear. He forgot to put the reverse gear. So he is asking the rhyming words for gear. So what are the rhyming words? Fear, near, dear, clear. Like that you can write anything. So which rhymes with gear? Next, why do you think Henry Ford forgot to put the reverse gear in the first car he made? So, for this question, you have to imagine the possibilities. Why he has forgotten to put the reverse gear. Okay, so the first possibility may be he thought that it is not necessary. Otherwise, he did not think about the reverse gear. So I think he did not feel to put a reverse gear. Next, he did not imagine the necessity of the reverse gear. Now he did not imagine the necessity of having a reverse gear. So that may be the second possibility. And next, he did not think about reverse gear itself. Okay, now coming to the next passage. In this passage, we have learned success stories, a lot of success stories we have learned, but we didn't see the failures behind the success. So this passage is about success stories and their failures, how they bounced back, how they fail forward rather than backward, and how they have learned from their failures. So now I'll read the passage. Listen carefully. All success stories of great failure are stories of great failures. All success stories are stories of great failures. The only difference is that every time they failed, they bounced back. This is called failing forward rather than backward. Now you learn and move forward. Learn from your failure and keep moving. So, whatever the success stories we have listened, they are the stories of failures. But every time when they failed, they bounced back and they failed forward rather than backward. They did not leave at the failure. They bounced back with the same energy, same effort to get the success. So they have learned from their failures and kept on moving until they get success. Okay, now coming to the questions. What does bounce back mean? So what is the meaning of bounce back? So bounce back means recover from failure and move forward. So the meaning of bounce back is recover from failure and move forward. What does fail forward means? Next, in the first question he asked about the meaning of bounce back, and in the second question he is asking about the meaning of fail forward. What is the meaning of fail forward? Fail forward means learn from failures and move forward. So the meaning of fail forward means learning from failures and move forward. So we have to know the lessons from the failures, and we should not repeat the same things when we have learned from the failures. Next, who fail forward? This third question is who fail forward? Successful people fail forward. So successful people, what they learn? They learn from the failures and they won't repeat their failures. They will overcome their failures and they work hard for their success. Okay, only successful people, they'll fail forward. Okay, next, coming to the next passage. Okay, in the previous passage, we have learned about the Thomas Alva Edison. When he was a kid, he was rejected by the teacher and he was sent out of the school. So that Thomas Alva Edison, he has a factory, and the factory was burnt in fire. There was a fire accident in the factory. So after 3 weeks, he invented the phonograph. So that much positive attitude he is having. Though he lost his property, he does not leave at the time. He tried back and invented the phonograph. So for that, he has told to himself, "Oh God, you have burnt all my mistakes so that I can start new." Okay, that is the attitude of Thomas Alva Edison. Okay, here they didn't mention the name of the person. So here, when we read the lesson, then only we can identify who these lines indicate about whom. Okay, now I'm reading the passage. Say, in spite of the disaster, 3 weeks later, he invented the phonograph. What an attitude! So the disaster happened, the factory was burnt. After 3 weeks, he invented the phonograph. So now coming to the questions. Here they didn't mention the person who is mentioned here. Now they are asking question, who is he here? He invented the phonograph, is there? No. Who is he here? He is Thomas Alva Edison. Who is he? Thomas Alva Edison. What was the disaster? The second question is, what was the disaster? Just they have given disaster, that's all. From this passage, we can't identify what the disaster had happened. When we read the lesson thoroughly, then only we can attempt this one. So in this passage, they have given all indirect questions. So we should have the previous knowledge about the passage. So what is the disaster mentioned here? The disaster was Edison's factory getting burnt in fire. So the factory was burnt in the fire. Next, what is Edison's attitude towards the disaster? He's asking what he is thinking towards the disaster. So Edison thought there is a great value in disaster, and all our mistakes are burnt up. We can start now anew. So he is not having insurance for the factory. In spite of a heavy loss he got in the disaster, he did not think of it. What he told, he praised the God that all our mistakes are burnt up. Thank God. Now we can start a new one. Okay. Now, what is phonograph? He has invented a phonograph. So what is the phonograph? Phonograph is a record player. What is phonograph? It is a record player, and phonograph is a piece of equipment for playing records in order to listen to the sound. When we want to listen to the sound, just we will play them. That's all. Nobody will come in front of us and sing a song. So with the help of this phonograph, we are able to record the voice of a person. So whenever we want to listen to the voice, we can listen by switching on the records. That is the phonograph. Phonograph is a record player. Phonograph is a piece of equipment for playing records in order to listen to the sound. Okay, children. Now, I'll give you one passage for homework. and you read thoroughly once and twice and then answer it and put to your respected teachers. Okay. Here children, I am displaying the homework passages for you. Read the passage thoroughly and then answer the questions. Remember, these are the multiple choice questions, and in the examination point of view we'll be having the multiple choice questions also in the passage. Till now I didn't touch the multiple choice questions. Now as a homework I'm giving you the multiple choice questions for this passage. Okay, answer it carefully and send to your respectful teachers. Okay. uh, all the best children. Stay home, stay safe. Hope you caught me and you understood the comprehension passages from this lesson. So thank you for watching me.